The jump would be hard, even if it was just like some top 10,
Right.
you know.
Bud, would you say he's a very smart fighter?
Yes.
Very calculated,
Yes.
right? Don't you think that maybe he sees something that most people aren't seeing?
I think he does, but the thing is he gonna be able to even like to capitalize on it? Because he's a smaller fighter, and look, I think people are thinking at the aspect of, can Crawford do it? Yes, I think he can do it, but can Canelo do it? And I think he has a bigger chance of doing it than Crawford.
50-50 fight for me. He going up in weight. You know, Terra is going to be great, bro. But at the end of the day, he got the skill to do it. He got the skill to go do some shit that other motherfuckers can't do. You know, he just got that. You know, everybody got a little something in them, bro, that everybody don't got in them.
The jump would be hard even if it was just like some top 10, you know, but would you say he's a very smart fighter? Yes. Very calculated, right? Don't you think that maybe he sees something that most people aren't seeing? I think he does, but the thing is he going to be able to even like to capitalize on it? Cause he's a smaller fighter. And look, I think people are thinking at the aspect of, can Crawford do it? Yes, I think he can do it, but can Canelo do it? And I think he has a bigger chance of doing it than Crawford does. Evander Holyfield has some harsh words about Canelo Alvarez's upcoming showdown with Terence Crawford. It could be hard to beat Canelo. He, you know, he real basing, but he a good fighter. Canelo has built a reputation of being a fearsome force at 168 pounds. Having already conquered notable names like Callum Smith, Gerald Charlo, and Gennady Golovkin, Canelo has been virtually unstoppable in his division. He made his move to super middleweight in 2018 and has reigned supreme since, solidifying his place as one of boxing's greatest fighters. However, his opponent Crawford is not an ordinary challenger. Crawford, known for his unparalleled skill set and ability to fight from both orthodox and southpaw stances, is stepping up to 168 pounds for the first time in his career. It's a 50-50th fight for me. He going up in weight, you know. He Tehran is going to be great, bro. But at the end of the day, he got the skill to do it. He got the skill to go do some that other mother can't do. You know, he just got that. You know, everybody got a little something in them, bro, that everybody don't got in them. He got it in. While Canelo has been campaigning at this weight for years, Crawford is making a significant leap, moving up 2 weight classes after conquering 140 pounds and 147 pounds. The match is a fascinating clash of styles and skill sets. But it's also a test of Crawford's ability to handle the size and power of Canelo, who has proven to be a monster in the super middleweight division. One thing that sets this fight apart is the opinions of various experts who have weighed in with differing perspectives on how the fight will play out. Holyfield, known for his own success after moving up in weight, has made it clear that he thinks Canelo will prove too much for Crawford. Holyfield believes that while Crawford is undeniably a great boxer, Canelo's power and experience will be decisive. Holyfield said it's going to be hard to beat Canelo, he's real basic, but a good fighter. Stephen A. Smith has also thrown his support behind Crawford. Although with some reservations, he believes that Crawford will manage to outpoint Canelo in a decision victory using his superior speed, movement, and boxing IQ to avoid the heavy punches Canelo is known for. Smith points out that Canelo tends to rely on power shots, which could play into Crawford's hands if he can keep his distance and box smartly. He also notes that Crawford's increased size and strength gained from his recent training may allow him to hold his own against the heavier Canelo. However, Smith also acknowledges that engaging Canelo in a brawl could lead to disaster as the Mexican champion's power could be too much for Crawford to handle. You got a love for boxing. Who going to win the fight, man? That's coming up. The Big Friday and Box. Crawford. Huh? Crawford. I'm not hesitating. Crawford. I'm not even hesitating. Crawford, you going to stand on that all the way to September 13th. I love Canelo. Crawford will beat Canelo. Crawford will beat Canelo by decision. I can't see anybody knocking out Canelo Alvarez, but I do believe that if you can box and you can move that you can beat Canelo. You can outpoint him. That's right. When I think about Canelo, one of the things that I don't like about Canelo, despite his greatness and a neck as wide as Broadway for crying out loud, right? It's like almost every shot has to be a power shot. That's a power shot. Yeah. That's not beating Crawford. I will confess. I think Gervonta Davis's trainer, Cal, I think he said this. He said Crawford could find himself in trouble if he decides to engage with Conor because Canelo is the naturally bigger strong fight. And I don't care that Crawford's gotten bigger, and I don't care that Crawford's going to go in there just as big as Canelo. Canelo is accustomed to fighting at the weight and Crawford is not. And Canelo is a genius in this regard. You don't see him show up for fights not ready. He's always ready. He's always prepared. He's always ready. He's always prepared. So, I think he's the slower fighter, though. And I think that Crawford is brilliant as a boxer. And I think that between switching to conventional and southpaw, using his jab and movement, I think that Crawford is going to outpoint Canelo because he's faster. But he ain't. I don't think he's gonna knock him. Brian Garcia has his own take on the fight. While Garcia respects Crawford's abilities, he believes that Canelo will retain his title. He notes that Canelo's natural strength and experience at the super middleweight level will make it difficult for Crawford to overcome him. Garcia, who has seen Canelo's training firsthand, says that the Mexican superstar has the kind of strength that could push back even bigger fighters. For Garcia, this fight will be a test of Crawford's ability to adapt to the larger, stronger Canelo. But he ultimately sees Canelo emerging victorious, though he acknowledges the potential for an upset. When you have two great fighters, great things can happen. But I could see even Crawford getting knocked out like Amir Khan style. Did you give Terence Crawford any chance to beat Canelo? I don't see it happening, but he could definitely prove me wrong. But I just think I've trained with Canelo. I've been around him. Bro can really push back heavyweights. So I don't know how he's like, cause this is the first time Canelo is actually bigger than somebody in a long time. So it's like the weights are lifted off and now he could fight even more freely, you know. So I'm actually interested to see. Bro, I can't wait for the fight. I'm definitely going to be backing Canelo, but you know, Crawford is a great fighter and he could surprise me. But, right now where I would bet my money is, Canelo Alvarez. The experience factor also looms large in this fight. Former unified world champion Kelly Pavic has highlighted the difference in experience levels between the two fighters when it comes to facing larger opponents. While Canelo has dealt with fighters moving down in weight, Crawford has not had the same experience fighting bigger opponents. Pav believes that Canelo's experience at super middleweight will give him the edge. But he doesn't count Crawford out. That's a tough one. Look, I like betting fights or making picks, and I'm usually pretty good on all my picks, even when I had the podcast, but sometimes because people look for that fighter, that former world champion, and they want to pick them apart if they get it wrong. This is one of them fights where I want to sit back and watch and not worry about my pick. Canelo is a small middleweight, super middleweight. He just is. But he's also showed that he could go up in weight class and he's a great fighter. I mean, that's it. Crawford is so talented. He's got so much ability and boxing, his boxing ability, and he's a bigger guy, too. He's almost every bit as big as Canelo, right? So, that's what makes it tough. Yeah, Canelo is used to fighting guys coming down from 200 probably, you know, at late heavyweight. And Crawford ain't, but it's just too hard to pick on because of Crawford's ability and boxing skills. I'm not going off of Canelo's last fight. You know, the guy he was fighting was in survival mode pretty much. He was just fighting not to get knocked out. When you fight a guy like that, you're not going to look good. Right? I don't care what anybody says. When you're fighting a guy that's running around trying to survive, it makes it hard. So, I don't go off of that. But this fight is going to be interesting. I mean, I would almost have to kind of lean with Canelo, but I'm not making that pick. Just saying, guys. Pav suggests that Crawford will need to employ a smart game plan, using his speed and boxing intelligence to outwork Canelo and avoid getting caught by his power punches. He suggests that Crawford should apply early pressure to Canelo, especially in the first few rounds, to tire him out. Pab's advice stems from the fact that Canelo has shown signs of slowing down in the later rounds of fights, particularly in his loss to Dimitri Bivol, where his stamina was questioned. Crawford with his quickness and footwork could exploit these vulnerabilities if he starts fast and outpoints Canelo in the early stages. Stay in Canelo's ass a little early on, put Canelo behind, right? Even if it's 3 out of the first 4 rounds, because when Canelo has to fight, okay, when Canelo has to step it up, after 7 rounds, he starts to fade a little bit. We've seen that with Bivol. We've seen it in a lot of his fights are with Triple G. You know, when Canelo can control the fight in the ring generalship, like, yeah, he can fight 12 rounds pretty good, but when Canelo gets pushed early on in the fight, he starts to fade muscle endurance-wise. So if I was a Crawford, I would kind of stay in his a little bit on the early rounds and make him have to play catch-up in rounds 3, 4, 5, and then by round 7, that's where he could really step it up. Dimitri Bivol, the man who handed Canelo one of his most significant defeats, has also weighed in on the fight. Bivol's perspective is unique because despite the size difference between Canelo and Crawford, Bivol doesn't think the size gap is as big of a deal.